Welcome to Unconventional Sailboat Cooking. In this series, we're going to be exploring non-traditional cooking methods to use aboard a sailboat, and we're going to go into the energy expenditures and the resources that each one of those methods use. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today is going to be a quick hitter. It's been over a month since I've been to the grocery store, so sometimes we do what we've got to do and we eat prepared foods. Today I am going to cook a can of chili on the Induction Cooktop, and we're going to calculate how much energy it takes to do that. I did have a sausage left over from a couple of days ago, so I decided to slice that sausage up and throw it into the chili so it didn't go to waste. Let's get at her. Okay, so let's calculate how much electricity we used for that. This one's pretty straightforward. The induction cooktop that I have, you can actually select different temperature set points on. They go in 30-degree increments. Usually if I'm boiling water, I just jack it up to 360. That uses around 730 watts while it's running. And the inverter that I have is limited to 3,000 watts, so I try and keep my watt usage for each individual appliance low in case I want to use multiples. So 360 is a pretty decent starting set point, and it boils water pretty quickly, and I started cooking the sausages at 360, which uses on average 730 watts. So I cooked it at that temperature for 2 minutes and 35 seconds, and then I lowered it down to 330 when the chili started to boil, and that uses 560 watts. And then after I turned off the cooktop, the fan runs for a minute to make sure that the unit is cool. So that uses 20 watts for 1 minute. So I wanted to capture the entire energy usage. So as always, volts times amps equals watts. Our battery output is 13.4 volts. And I plugged in the different wattages to back calculate the amperages. So I got an amperage for each of the different set points that we had during the cook cycle. And Neptune is outside barking, apologies. And then I calculated our total amp hours from that. So that's as simple as taking your amperage times the percentage of an hour that the time that it was running was. So in this case we had 54.47 amps times 4.3% of an hour to get 2.34 amp hours for our first sausage and chili cook cycle. And then we had 41.79 times 5.1% of an hour. That it gave us 2.13 amp hours. And then finally 1.49 amps times 1.6% of an hour for 0.02 amp hours. And that gave us a total energy consumption of 4.49 amp hours, which is pretty low. A typical battery has 100 amp hours in it, and this was less than 5% of that. So very efficient. And that's it for this week. Go ahead and check the links below. If you do want to follow along on our travel channel, the link is down below, as well as our Patreon if you're interested in bonus content. I guess I'll catch you next week.